is Cherish, and this um, topic today that I will be uh, sharing part of my life with you is it doesn't affect me personally, but it does affect someone close to me, which is my mother. This disease, she was diagnosed with last year around November or December, and it really took a toll on not only her life but our life. Like everything had to uh, change, like the things that we did or around the house, and minor things that, but it affected all of us. Like we all had to make a change for everything to be okay with her. And this disease is COPD, and COPD is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which you're probably thinking, what does that mean? And it's literally a group of lung diseases that block the airflow and make it difficult to breathe. So, for example, putting like a wet shirt like up to your mouth and trying to breathe. That's how, like, you trying to breathe like normally, like with healthy lungs. That's how it feels with a COPD patient. And according to studies, there are 3 million cases per year in the United States. And it's so crazy that it's so many. Like, I can't even imagine what it's like in other countries. And people that have COPD, like, it can last up to a year, from up to a year to a lifespan. And people who have usually normally have COPD longer than a year, it usually cut their lifespan short. And since my mom has COPD, I didn't know anything about it before she ended up before the doctors diagnosed her with it. So I wanted to do some research so I can be able to help in any way I can to help her to ease the pain and to keep her motivated and in motion, to help her. So from the American Lung Association, it gave 3 main topics about COPD, and it's the cause, smoking, and the environment. The cause is exposure that can damage the lungs and the airway. The main cause, obviously, is smoking, and smokers and non-smokers can get COPD. And that moves on to the second point. It is 85 to 90% of COPD cases are caused by smoking. And what is crazy, so one cigarette, it whenever you light one cigarette, it'll let off 7,000 chemicals. Some of them are harmful, which that is what starts to build up the harmful things that we intake, that starts to damage our airways and our lungs, which that's how we breathe, and the environment. And you really don't think about, it's the environment. We all go outside, we all breathe air, we all put in oxygen, take out carbon dioxide, whatever. Yeah. So what you breathe at work, at home, outside, plays a major role in COPD. A long-term exposure to air pollution, secondhand smoke, dust, fumes can cause COPD. And on the web, I was searching, and a very well health site that I came across said 25% of those who develop COPD have never smoked. Symptoms of COPD for non-smokers is shortness of breath, wheezing, dry cough, coughing up mucus, respiratory infection, chest tightness, and trouble sleeping. Which, even if you are not around smokers all the time, or around these type of things that will cause COPD, and you still experience these symptoms, you can still get it checked out to see if you might have a small case of COPD, which the top ways that non-smokers develop COPD is from secondhand smoke, and that could either be from work or home. Pollution, indoor pollution, such as gas and paints. Whenever you're pumping gas, all those fumes that's coming out of the gas tank, and paints whenever you're painting something or airbrushing something outside, all those fumes, even though you're still outside, even though the breeze might be blowing, you're still taking in the fumes from that. Occupational exposure, such as a painter or a person who pumps gas at a gas station, or dust whenever you're cleaning your home. Something my brother deal with is asthma. He has severe asthma, so that doesn't help, and he's also a smoker, which that's bad. Lung infections, and it's very, very, very uncommon, but COPD can be genetic. And you're like, it can be genetic. Well, I can get rid of it. Like, I won't have to pass it down to my next generation. But the sad thing is, there is no cure for COPD. But there is treatment, such as medications, oxygen therapy, and surgery. According to the WebMD, that's where I go to self-diagnose myself. Most common help for COPD is oxygen therapy. Oxygen therapy is a way for oxygen to get oxygen to your lungs. Type of ways to get oxygen is through tubes, which they literally take an oxygen tank and put the tube up to your nose, and it goes around your ears. Or a face mask. It put it on like a regular mask, and it covers your mouth and nose. And surgery, they cut a hole in your throat and put a trach there, and then the oxygen tanks, which you carry around and you don't want to be around smoke. All these types of ways to get oxygen. My dad actually, before he passed away, had to go through all of that. He didn't smoke, but I don't know, because I was only 10 when he passed away, but I think that he had COPD because he had to go through, he was always in and out the hospital. He did have asthma, but he was always in and out the hospital. He had the tube, he had the face mask, he had a trach, and no matter what age you are, you can always stop smoking. I wouldn't recommend it for anyone. I am 20 and I don't smoke. Just the smell of it just disgusts me, and I really don't want to affect the way my mom breathes. Like, I don't want to be a problem to her life. So I really hope this information helped you and prevents you from smoking.